What's up, good people? Mark Holmes here, and as always, I want to say thank you all for watching, commenting, subscribing, and being part of the Joe Boo Sports Report. Without you guys, as well as you ladies, you know that this literally does not work. I hope everybody's having a great hump day. I've got the Dan Salio show here in about an hour from now, and you know how they always roll when it comes to me. So this is a real question. This season sucks. It just does. There's no way to put it. The question is, with Dak Prescott, Dak saying that, Mike McCarthy, he deserves another chance with the team, basically with a little bit more say, I would think, is what he is trying to insinuate on how the team is run. The question is, does he deserve that opportunity? I know a lot of you will say, hell no. He doesn't. Dak Prescott doesn't. Fire all of them and just start all over. I get it. I've been a Dallas Cowboy fan all of my life, okay? I'm 59 years old. I've seen the greatness that the Cowboys have. I've seen the pits of agony with the 1-15. I saw the greatest team that the Cowboys ever fielded get old and no longer even relevant in the same way that I've seen a lot of things come and go in my 59 years. The real question, though, is there a guarantee? Is there a guarantee that if they take what has been at least somewhat respectable, okay? As in, they have won some games over the couple of years, and you can look at it. We all looked at this thing, because here's the thing that's in my mind. We've all looked at this season going in and said, we have not done enough. We have not done enough to win, right? If you've agreed that bringing back Zeke wasn't going to be good enough to win, right? Up there's the link for Dan Salio show. If you agree that bringing back Zeke wasn't enough to win, if you looked at it and said, us losing Dante Fowler and Dorrance Armstrong and Biotish and not replacing them, and said, that's not enough for us to do what we want to do, then how can you go through and say, Dak, it's your fault. Mike McCarthy, it's your fault, right? How is it that we can turn around and say they're to blame for our problems if we all looked at it and said we need to do more? That we were relying on guys with no experience to try and win. And understanding, here's what's funny, is understanding that this is part of the natural cycle of the NFL, okay? Very rarely do you have a dynasty that wins consistently every year. We've been spoiled by New England, Kansas City. They're more the exception than the rule. Teams don't stay good every year and going to the Super Bowl every year. I get it. We have been, the bridesmaid too many times. We've had a couple of really good teams competing. But take a look at San Francisco right now. San Francisco, that was in the Super Bowl last year. Boom, right? They're not consistently good every year. In fact, you could say Kyle Shanahan is always the bridesmaid. that team usually has a really good season followed by a really bad one. But that doesn't mean that they're not a good team. And you also have to look at this from the standpoint of, we had a killer schedule. We had the first place schedule. You're playing all of the really good teams. And with the NFL constantly turning over that you have in the NFC East, nobody has won the NFC back-to-back since the 2003 and 2004 season in 20 years. So is this a failure of the team, or is this just the natural cycles of the NFL? I think it's more of the natural cycles of the NFL, that you have to get bad to get back up on top. And so I look at it, I know that there's something about, if you haven't won in 5 years, typically you're not going to win it. That usually, in more cases than not, because usually it takes a coach a few years to get the system that he wants implemented, to get his coaching staff together, to get the players and get all the players up to speed to what they're doing. And usually if that 5 years is up and he hasn't done it, then you say it's time to start the clock over. But the Cowboys, the thing is when we have the attrition of this season of Zach Martin and Tank Lawrence and Zeke Elliott, the Cowboys are one of the youngest teams in the NFL right now. You've got a good, solid group of guys that are beginning to buy in. When you start seeing a Brock Hoffman, who you didn't look at and say, that guy's going to be a stud, you start looking and saying, okay, that guy's doing really good. You look at the maturation of what the staff is doing with an Overshown. You look at what this team has been able to do with defensive backs, where you picked up Deron Bland, and then you had Josh Daniels, who looked like he was going to become a stud too until he got injured. And so you look at this and say, they are producing players that are really good players. That maybe the thing, in the way you don't blame Mike McCarthy is you haven't given him a full set to deal with. You haven't given him all the tools to make it. That's my only point. And people get mad at me and say, oh, you just need to get rid of me as a bum. But the thing is if you just fire the coach and bring in the same players that you have right now and keep doing the same way, you're going to get the same results. I will say, I'll take Mike McCarthy in those 3 years of 12-5 versus everything else that we've had over the last 20 years. I just will. So that's what I say. Anyway, I'm still working on my Christmas decorations. We got a Christmas party that's going to happen next weekend, and it's getting cold. And I got 4 more bricks that came in, so I'm getting those put here in the place in our brick walkway. So we've got 3 more bricks that were historical ones for the city of Waynesboro, and we've got Debbie's brick, who is one of the great-great-great-granddaughters of the people that put the addition on the house. It's fun. It's kind of funny to me and I don't want to start stirring shit up, but I remember there was a guy who created a whole YouTube channel, and he talks about how I'm never going to finish this place, and how the city council, of course, should shut this thing down and everything else because it's a disgrace, and that I'm a thief because I was selling off all the bricks and things, and that my brick walkway wasn't going to happen, and that people should get a refund. Funny. City council's coming here next weekend for a party. Funny. Got the brick walkway here. Funny. The house is done. So, I enjoy proving Mother Humper's wrong. But I'm sure he'll come up with some other shit to try and beat me down on. And he'll probably go through and bust a nut because he's, I kind of mentioned him and all his hate. Keep hating, people. It fuels me. Peace.